In the year 1901, deep beneath the turquoise waters of the Aegean Sea, sponge divers stumbled upon the remains of a 2,000-year-old shipwreck. Among the statues, amphorae, and treasures, they found something no one could explain, a corroded lump of bronze and wood that would rewrite the history of science. This is the Antikythera Mechanism, a device so complex, so ahead of its time, that some call it the world's first computer. But how could such precision engineering exist in ancient Greece? Who built it? And what else have we lost to history? The discovery began with bad weather. A team of sponge divers from the island of Symi took shelter near Antikythera. Bored and restless, they decided to dive for sponges. One diver, Elias Stadiates, resurfaced in a panic, claiming to have seen a pile of rotting corpses on the seafloor. Those corpses turned out to be statues, marble and bronze, scattered from a Roman-era shipwreck. Salvaging began under incredibly dangerous conditions. Divers wore heavy canvas suits and brass helmets, relying on hand-pumped air. Some suffered decompression sickness, others died. But the haul was extraordinary. Jewelry, coins, statues, and that mysterious green, encrusted object that nobody could make sense of. For decades, the lump sat quietly in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. No one realized its significance. Then, in 1951, physicist Derek J. de Solla Price became fascinated by it. Using X-ray imaging in the 1970s, he discovered gears. Dozens of interlocking bronze gears, with teeth cut as precisely as those in a fine Swiss watch. Imagine, in an era when most technology relied on wood, rope, and manpower, here was a mechanism of staggering precision. It wasn't for war. It wasn't for navigation across seas. It was an astronomical calculator. The Antikythera Mechanism is about the size of a shoebox. Inside were more than 30 bronze gears, some with over 200 teeth, working together to track the motions of the sun, the moon, and possibly the planets. It could predict eclipses, track the ancient Olympic Games calendar, and model celestial events decades in advance. But here, the mind-bending part. The gearing used differential motion, the same principle used in modern cars, over 2,000 years before the first automobile. Why is this so astonishing? Gears weren't common in Greek engineering. Nothing of similar complexity appears again for over 1,000 years. The craftsmanship implies generations of prior development, yet we have no other surviving devices. Either this was the culmination of a long-lost tradition, or it was an extraordinary one-off that disappeared with its maker. The ship carrying the mechanism likely sank between 70 and 60 BCE. Scholars suspect it was made in a Greek scientific hub, maybe Rhodes, home to great astronomers and engineers. One leading theory connects it to Hipparchus, the astronomer who mapped the stars with unprecedented precision. Others suggest a link to Archimedes, though he lived a century earlier. The craftsmanship points to a skilled workshop, possibly one that served wealthy patrons, scholars, or even royalty. Imagine a device like this being presented as a gift to a powerful ruler, not for practical use, but as a display of mastery over the heavens. After the Antikythera Mechanism, we see nothing. No surviving evidence of comparable mechanical astronomy until medieval Islamic scholars and, later, 14th century European clocks. Why? Some point to the fragility of ancient science. Wars, fires, and the collapse of classical civilization could have destroyed both the devices and the knowledge to build them. If this was the product of a small, elite group of craftsmen, their extinction could erase centuries of innovation in a single generation. In the early 2000s, a team called the Antikythera Mechanism Research Project used advanced CT scans and imaging to reveal inscriptions and hidden details. The Greek letters etched into its surface were like a user manual instructions for operating the device. Reconstruction efforts have now produced working replicas. Turning the crank, you can watch the cosmos unfold. The moon's phases shifting, eclipses coming into view, planets moving in intricate cycles. It's like holding a miniature universe in your hands. The Antikythera Mechanism reminds us that history is not a straight line of progress. Knowledge can be gained and lost. We imagine ourselves at the peak of technological achievement, but what if there were other peaks before us, hidden under the waves or buried in forgotten ruins? Somewhere out there, more fragments of our forgotten past may still rest, waiting for a curious mind to ask the right question, and for the right eyes to see the impossible. The past is never truly gone.